So if you are born from the higher dimensions here, by definition, you are born behind the enemy lines. This planet is enemy controlled planet. It's a reptilian evil controlled planet. So how do you pay your ticket? System which controls incarnations puts you always in a family where you're gonna be physically, even sexually abused. I was lucky not to be sexually abused, but oh boy, physical violence was always there. So it's very important for you not to buy the story that it's your fault. It's so not your fault. Now this is one thing you have to understand about Buddhism and all these religions which are teaching you that it's all your fault. It's not. You're simply being beaten from a number of reasons. First one is to take your energy out. Second one is to program you to being obedient to the authority represented in mother and father, in communist system where I was born in, and later on fake creation democracy, which turned out to be even bigger bullshit than communism. I mean, communism at least was giving you a job and free medical care, an apartment and free education. Fake democracy, none of it. Not even a job, but they gave you two political parties and, you can vote for one of those. So, what happens when you start waking up and start speaking out? Of course, the tentacles of the system gonna creep in the form of trolls, and they're gonna start trolling and bullshitting. Which brings me to the level of conspiracy. So at the lowest level of conspiracy you have this Catholic conspiracy, which is teaching you Catholic Church is good. It's fighting against the Freemasons. And this, all these different regimes use the conspiracy to further on conspiracy. For example, Nazis, they've been big on the Rothschilds and Jewish part of the conspiracy. They've been like pointing to that, like Aktien auf Waterloo and movies like this. Same as now Muslims are using the Hollywood satanic imagery to frame all Western people or Christian people as basically devils. So this is how it works. In a plain words, NATO is your God, and terrorists are the Satan. Same as biblical God is your God and Satan is his enemy. So you always have this this idea that the God who's protecting you is a good God, while evil is somewhere else in the opposition. But in the essence, both parties are evil. They've always been. So being born behind the enemy lines doesn't mean only just to being tortured and brainwashed. It also means that in every consequent level you're gonna be lied. So now you start to check out the conspiracy on the internet, and first you will be hit by the Mr. Alex Jones, and I have to speak about the Mr. Alex Jones. Guys, Illuminati, they have telepathic powers. To walk in gathering like Bohemian Grove with a camera to film it and nobody's noticing that is equal like walking into Catholic church during the mass completely naked with a big sign like "look at me" and hoping that nobody will notice you inside the church. It's simply impossible. I don't know that because I'm Illuminati. I simply know that because since year 2012 I've been able to figure it out who's Illuminati around me, and so from time to time make some contact with words with them. So these are all levels of a lying. First they lie to you, as they lied to me, communism is the best system, you don't need any other political parties but the Communist Party, which is representing all of the peasants and the workers. Then they changed into, Croatian nationalism. Now you have two parties. Now you have Social Democrats, which used to be communists, and you have nationalists, which used to be fascists. So, and then came European Community. Well, you know what, guys? Like, our Croatian democracy turned out to be like big, like mega huge pile of corruption and bullshit. Well, now, in European Community we have overseer in Brussels, and it's a good father. It's taking good care of us, and everything is fine now because we are Europe. I know that these are not really like deep words for you, but what I want to say is, after one level of discerning enemy lies, you're gonna be hit with already pre-planned, stuck another level of conspiracy. And then, if Alex Jones is not good enough for you, and you already observed David Icke and his theory about reptiles, which is he, constantly repeating since the year 1999 when he figured it out, reptiles. Not much new to hear from that guy as well. You're gonna be hit with the another level of conspiracy, which is Project Camelot. And if you really wanna waste your life, be my guest, study Project Camelot. You have one whistleblower and after another whistleblower, every single one ex-CIA, ex-military, ex-something. And oh boy, they talk, they talk, and from time to time they tell you something. So, the only way, really, for you to see is spiritual way to see. Is to open your telepathic powers, to activate your DNA, and well, I can really try to point you to that, how to do it, but I so know it's always individual, and whatever I say might not work for you. So this is like opposite of those new age gurus which are telling you, this certainly gonna work. No, I'm, frankly, let's face it, even if you bother to try it, might not work for you because things are not certain. So what worked for me was Malanga's techniques, Dr. Malanga, triad, flash simulation, and all those techniques, which I explained in my other videos. You will find it. I think these are among first two I put on the internet. It's on this YouTube channel, so it's not much digging. So, if you really connect to your soul, and if you really do this exercise every day, month after month, results will follow. And one of the results which will happen to you emotionally gonna be, you will go through discharge of emotions. Somehow all these childhood traumas, all these childhood beatings, which, if you're one of us, definitely happened to you, gonna start to surface, and you're gonna have both cathartic moments, but painful as well. Question is, can you bear with it? And what is your context? Where are you at this moment? Are you a family man? Do you have or woman? Do you have a job? Because when these things hit you, it's gonna be very difficult to keep on smiling. And the Illuminati and reptiles around you definitely gonna figure it out what's going on, and they're gonna start hitting you. As Bruno said, Illuminati guy, sleep. And when I told him, yeah dude, but we are the energy, he told me, well, what's the point of energy if you don't know what to do with it? So don't forget, evil holds the higher ground in comparison to you as an ego. And it's been programming you a very long time to accept this role of servitude. And the whole economic system is just that. It's slavery. We live in a feudal system. However they call it, it's a feudal system. You have lords holding ground, holding property, holding capital, and you, if you want to survive, you have to crawl, smile, eat shit, and then you're gonna get some money. It's called feudal system. And in some countries it's really feudal in its essence. So again, let's face it, we are behind the enemy lines, we are waking up, and it's not always pleasant. And I know it's possible to change it, because this change is gonna happen one way or another. With our participation to push it, or without. If we decide to chip in, of course that we're gonna be targeted, even killed, harmed. Morgano's gonna get activated in you, possible. Possible that you're gonna be burned by the microwaves. That's what they do. They have many agents. These machines are everywhere. And when they figure it out who's the targeted individual, they just set up, they have their guys in the neighborhood, and they start burning people. That sucks, really. You know, those burning sensations on the body when you go to sleep, it's not pleasant at all. So how do I deal with it? I move my bed, I move my sleeping position. It gives me a couple of days of easier treatment, and then, you know, guys figure it out, they adjust their machines, and this is how it is. But can you talk about this? How organic portals gonna feel about it? You know who are the organic portals? Soulless human beings, the majority. Your friends, your family. Virtually people without souls. These people are not unawakened souls. They are not your allies. They are furniture. And this is the sad truth. That explains why they don't give a shit. They never gave a shit about the truth. They never will. Till the very moment of their death, which is gonna be massive, they're gonna be denying whatever is happening around them. So if you really wanna be stupid, go on street and march with them when they are herded up like a sheep to march against their governments. It's sad. You know, I always laugh when I see those guys demonstrating. You know, I like, what do they want? Like, we want more cheese, we want jobs, we want suck more cocks. You know, give us jobs, give us more fucking sucking cocks to suck. It's like this is how they see, like, you know, democracy, what they are. They are the majority. So who is in the game? From top to bottom, you have reptiles or other demonic beings which are infesting human containers. Then you have Illuminati, sold humans who sold their souls long time ago to Lucifer, and now they're being reborn in the Illuminati system. Some of them sold, some of them not. And then you have organic portals, the majority, or the furniture. I call them the furniture. These are the clapping hands of the system. These are the people which never ask themselves one original question. These are the people which never had in their heads one original thought. These are the people who never investigated anything. These are the people who always gonna follow media, government, religion. Always. And when it's time for war or some unrest in the country or area, they're simply gonna fall into the lines of the political party which is advocating some change. They can't see things for themselves. And you know why they're here? Well, exactly to fool you with their overwhelming numbers. So you always, I'm sure that you've been going through this, like, how come people can't see it? How come, people simply don't see the chemtrails? How come people simply don't notice the GMO food? How come, it's weird, isn't it? This majority simply doesn't give a shit. All they want is just the money and, keep on like living their lives the most comfortable way they can, and they don't give a shit. And when you debate with them, what was happening to me many times, debate with them goes always, okay, first phase is always ridicule, then we enter in a very long quasi-intellectual debate. And it's very important with those guys to notice they cannot stay on one idea more than like 10 minutes. This is absolute maximum. They're gonna ask questions, they're gonna enter into long monologues, and they're gonna forget the original topic. So this is the intelligence of the organic portals. Yeah, they can memorize books, they can follow orders, it's okay, but they cannot think. They do not have thinking capacity. And they, there is nothing in them to connect them with the truth. They do not have souls. Majority is soulless. It's empty. And those empty containers can easily be influenced by the beings from higher dimensions. Easily. They are like little toys on the remote. That's who they are. And they are here to drum you, virtually to drum you into the obedience. Because all of us, like you observe people around you, everything is fine for them. Whatever is happening, everything is fine for them. And they tell you, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. When when you like start talking about, okay, explain me 911. How come 2 airplanes hit 5 buildings in total, including building number 7? You think our government done it? Dude, bigger than government. You know what? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. And this is the last thing they're gonna tell you in every debate. They simply do not give a shit. So, when shit hits the fan, eventually it will, globally, big time. And when these guys start dying, well, you know what? I will of course feel sorry, because it's gonna be very, very sad thing to see all these like millions of bodies just decomposing in canals, in streets, and so on. It's not a nice thing to see, but essentially it's just a furniture rotting. That's it. Nothing more. They didn't give a shit, and now who gives a shit? Who gives a shit, really? They simply looked human, but they never been Homo sapiens, the being of knowledge. They never been. They've been just, being of executing orders, being of automatical movement, being of eating, fucking, shitting, sleeping, working, means like kissing ass to get some money. That's it. And they are the majority. And I don't like them. I don't. Because they are part of the problem, not part of the solution. it doesn't sound nice, does it? Because it's so popular new age to say we are love, everything is nice, this is very nice beach, and look at the seagulls, and I'm going through DNA activations, and everything is lovely, everything is pinky, and look at me, and I'm doing this workshops in Sedona, Arizona, about reptilian base and that stuff, and all people are nice, all people are good. No, they're not. They're not good. They're selfish. They are pure selfish. They are driven by the very low emotions of greed, fear, fear to lose little they have, greed to have more, sexual urge, which is like the highest thing. They worship football if they're male. They worship fashion if they're females. This is clear indication who is who. If all topic is evolving around money, fashion, guys, scheming how to get it, money or a guy with the money, you're talking to organic portal. What else? If guy is all about football and how he got wasted and fucked that chick dude, guess what? Organic portal. So ask yourself how you feel with those guys. You think too much. You think too much. You shouldn't be thinking that much. Let me give you free advice. You think too much. Hey, let's grab a beer. You know what? Let's get some chicks. Yeah. O tempora, o moris. Empty containers. The majority. Empty containers. Their opinions. Whatever they heard on CNN or Fox News, or in my case, TV Nova, owned by Germans, or Croatian National TV, again as a country, Illuminati owned. These are their opinions. They have no opinions. They can simply express what they've been instructed. So this is the thing. If you're sold, not if you're troll. If you troll, if you're Illuminati, with a soul, then you're in really, really deep trouble. When things start to split, you're really, really big trouble. I'm sorry for you, okay? Because it's gonna be nasty for you. But if you're soul, if you have a soul, if you always had this urge to know, to see what's real, what's true, what's lie, because the truth was always feeding you, it was always in you, then you must know the difference between those, let's say, only two different major groups, us souls and organic portals, for the beginning. Okay, it's not by chance that spiritual people, people who see conspiracy and understand conspiracy, are in such a minority. This is not a coincidence. This is very serious thing. And Malanga says that among, there are like 20% souled people, 20% with souls, in whole population. And I think this is a very high number. I think it's great, to have like 20%. I don't think so. I would say like 10% at the best. And among those 10%, those who are activated, we are talking about promille. Only few. And I smoke, and this is so no in America, because this is causing a cancer. How about GMO and chemtrails? How about that causing a cancer? How about that? So at least now you know, in theory, if you believe me, who are your enemies, potential enemies. those who gonna give you good advices, tell you what to think. Like as Simon told me, like, my father, he joined the Freemasons and he kept his job all his life. Yeah, Simon, I got you. A few days before I've been fired. People with good advices, hey, if you join in, you're gonna keep your job. Stuff like that. Or, when you're like a teenager, and this is very, very sensitive phase when you're a teenager, because while you've been a kid, it was very easy to beat you. It was very easy to, because you're a child, you're small, you're easily attackable by parents, by other people, because you're weak. But now you're a teenager, getting stronger, and then you're gonna have friends who who's gonna suggest you, to get drunk, to get chicks, to go to this club or that club. These are not your friends, and these are simply interest groups in accordance with the technology. Did you notice the difference between friendship and colleagues? It's a big difference. So Stivers, he defined the interest group in accordance with the technology. What we know, friends from school, friends from work, colleagues. What means interest group in accordance with the technology? I'm not sure that this is like a real term from his book, because I read the Croatian translation. The Culture of Cynicism. Great book. This is how he calls those colleagues, those friends from school, from street. He defines that. These are not friends. You've been simply put in technological process. You're in a school or university. You're in the same class. You share the same program. You share the same challenge, and this is bonding you. And then you start considering each other as friends. But what do you have really in common? Nothing. Just technology. You do the same job. You have same problems. You have same paperwork. You think you are friends? No. You are simply interest group in accordance with the technology. So what happens with those friends once you cease to go to that school, once you cease to go to that university, once you cease to do that job? How many of them remain to be your friends? Very few or nobody. Why? Because you never had anything in common at the first place. I'm talking only in the case if you're sold. If you're not sold, then you have many friends. No problem. You're on the same level as the majority. You share the same interests. If you're not, big into Manchester United, you probably are big in Liverpool or whatever, BFAUB, whatever you're following. So you're always gonna have a common ground with the majority. If you're a guy, you're probably into beer and chicks. And now if you're married, you're probably into mortgage and that kind of stuff. So you're gonna have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to share your low materialistic values. Or for women, nails, hair polishing, anything to look good so you can sell yourself on the market for the highest bidder. This is what they call love. When you have to look beautiful in order to sell yourself. I call it prostitution, but they call it love. We simply call the same thing differently. What is love to you, for me, is just a prostitution. That's what it is. You have to look apart, to be apart, to get something. You're defined by your body. In this case, you're just a merchandise. Again, something what fits very well. The mentality of organic portals, because they're only bodies. They're only bodies. They have some emotions, very basic. some mental capabilities, again, to store information and to execute it. This is what they do. They get programmed, they execute it. So, another definition of organic portals is biological robots. So what is the difference between biological robot and a souled human being? And I'm gonna tell you the difference. I was working in a school, Sarasa Zvitek, teaching English G3, G4 at the time. And this was the phase when everybody been happy with me. Kids learning fine, everything fine. And then in one class there is one girl, bright girl. She stopped me outside and she wanted to talk about solar system. She's interested into solar system. G3. Her English, basic, but she's intelligent. She knows how to express herself. Wow, willing to learn. Amazing. Another guy sat with us, he is from G4, fat, typical geek, but so bright, fluent English, excellent, interested into science. Amazing kids, willing to learn, willing to know more, curious, incredibly curious, in a culture where by definition people don't know their neighboring countries. By definition, people don't know that they exist on a planet Earth which is evolving around the sun. In a culture where it's perfectly normal that a guy with a university degree asks you, what is the difference between Germany and Europe? Is Germany Europe? Is Europe Germany? It's confusing me because England is America, right? Well, it's a bit complicated, so let me draw you a map of Europe and America and the rest of the world and explain you. So you see, it's like you have our kind everywhere and you have majority everywhere as well. And this is the difference. Completely different vibration. Check out the trailer for the movie Frequencies. I never seen the movie, but trailer has something significant. Trailer has this boy who's functioning in ultra low frequency, and his mother asks, the teacher, will he ever have a normal life? And the teacher says never. So this is the point. If you are one of us, you fundamentally function on different frequency. But you are put in the container which looks pretty much alike as everybody else. So there, your ego gets formed. You have no memory, right? You've been born, you've been programmed and beaten and programmed and beaten. Your ego gets formed and you believe, okay, this is it. This is pretty much it, right? So, why am I so different? Well, nobody's gonna tell you that. This is something you have to figure it out yourself. And then you first gonna be hit by your religion. Where I was born, it's Catholicism, and Catholicism is all about feeling guilty. So I started to, research, and first thing what hit me was when I was 21 was transcendental meditation. Then I learned Silva method, mind control. Then I entered in the New Age. In the New Age I learned about different dimensions, about aliens, but of course everything through the point of view of the New Age. No conspiracy. Only happy things. So I learned the hard way. I learned about the Illuminati while I was working for the Illuminati on Queen Mary 2. Big ship, actually the biggest at that time. Loaded people cruising on that ship. We had George Bush Sr. visiting us. We had Jacques Chirac, we had Kawasaki family, Rothschild lady, one of those penthouse people, $75,000, 10-day apartment on a cruise with the butler. I was taking pictures of them. I was a photographer. And then I've been given a book, Hidden Hand. That was 10 years ago. Seems like 10,000 years ago, really. And this is how I learned it, by being there. And it was tough. It was tough to be there. So nobody's gonna tell you that. You have to figure it out yourself, and dig for those little resources you have around you to start understanding the system. And then I became devoted Buddhist. You have no idea how sinister Buddhism is. It's teaching you that you don't have a soul, that you are only 5 aggregates: body, feelings, mental formations, perception, which is only recognition, and the memory, and the mind, which combines that all. So you are simply recognition, which recognizes this is tree, this is human, with a memory base. You have some emotions and mental formations, which are mostly hit from outside, and a body. So that's why in Buddhism you don't have reincarnation, you have rebirth. And what is causing this rebirth is, your defilements, like greed, hatred, delusion. So human is simply human container with some formations caused by the defilements. And according Buddha, rich people are rich because souls. How he has no actually term for souls. He simply says those who finish their rebirth in the higher realms, in the heavenly realms, get reborn as a rich people and nobility, while those who finish their rebirth in the hell realms got born among families of bamboo cutters who eat dog meat and drink fermented drink and no Dhamma. So this is the Buddhist way and Buddha's way to explain the social injustice. I know there are many other things in Buddhism, like, hey Lord Buddha, how come rain starts? And he says, well, how earthquakes start? And he says rain comes down, it goes under the ground, it gets boiled, and it's moving the earth. And scientific explanations like, where is the end of the world? And Buddha says, well, many have been flying, but they couldn't find the end of the world. It's without the end. So you're reading this, and how come an enlightened human being didn't know that? So it took me like two years to figure it out. That's a lie as well. But you see, every lie has some truth in it. And good part about Buddhism is meditation. So this is what drawing people to Buddhism, because Christianity simply doesn't give you possibility to meditate. You're simply supposed to pray and hope everything's gonna be fine. Still better than some other religions where you have to chop off the head to end up in hell. In this case in a heaven with shitloads of virgins. So there there are different levels of religious evil on this planet, right? Buddhism happened to be quite okay, but what happens in the practice? Again, organic portals. Again, people who cannot see. I've been thrown out with another monk from the monastery simply because we saw Abbot with girls and we spoke about that. So in Buddhism, you can actually have a sex only if you are Abbot and have money. Then it's okay. Then nobody's noticing that. Well, those few white people in the monastery did notice that and spoke about it, so we've been out. But topic was organic portals. Again, organic portals, they function very well in Buddhism. For them, Buddhism is you bow to Buddha 3 times, you learn chantings. With the chantings you make money. With the money you can buy yourself stuff, and it's okay. Being Buddhist monk is perfectly fine. You don't have to think. You just follow, chant, you get some money, you have lots of free time, it's okay. If some things in Buddhism don't make sense, don't worry about it. You're thinking too much. So, Buddhism didn't work for me. Especially in the practice, involving corruption and sex. but also didn't work for me in the theory as well. Like, things simply don't match. And but to know that you have to read original books, Nikayas, they cost money. You don't get them for free. You get the the small books done by the English monks. You get them for free. They are very nice, very well, you know, all controversial parts are simply taken out, and only nice parts are inside. So I was fooled by that. I was fooled by many things in my life. But things really started to change since year 2012, when I started to see. So I was talking about the ability to see, and things grew more and more difficult when I started to see. After this first successful telepathic contact, I could like sense more people who they are, and now by the end of 2014, maybe like 2.5 years after that, I started to speak out, because it grew intensely more difficult not to speak out, because by not speaking out I am participating in that evil. Really, I'm participating if I don't speak out. And why would I participate anymore? By keeping my mouth shut, out of fear that I'm not gonna get job, or my boss is gonna find these uploads and, hey, now we can frame you, you're weird, you don't fuck chicks, you don't drink beer, you speak about spiritual stuff, right? You're weird, we'll fire you now. That's how it goes. I'm speaking about white community in Asia, how they came here. Not like me. I came here because I want to be a monk. This is why I came to Thailand. My interest into Asian women is like zero, really. Simply don't see the point. But for them, it's everything. Hey, it's Asia. I mean, in this case, Cambodia. It's all about sex. You can have sex. Wow. Sorry, but I'm like 20 years too late for that. It would be great for me in my early 20s, but not in my late 30s. Things change. So why am I doing this? Really? Why am I doing this? Why do this? Yes, one is to organize people for that pulse. We are powerful. I'm sure that people like me are somewhere. And I have to speak about this thing which was coming to me repeatedly. But it's so hard to speak about it. Well, I'm not really sure about this. It's cold. Let me just adjust my ajaba. Jalaba under my ass, my pillow. And let me try to talk about this issue. Well, these are my memories, which been coming to me, and guys, I'm simply gonna spit it out. And if you have anything to say about this, please say it. I'm gonna figure it out if you're bullshitting, really. But this was coming to me. You see, that unity, that infinity of souls, which is one. It works this way. We all have same essence, but we are either more feminine, more with the unconditional love, or more masculine, more with intelligence, but with less unconditional love. Still we have it. And we have a center as well. So, in that perspective, the beings of unconditional love, they insisted that this experiment should go only one way and one way only. That means no help from outside. You get born, but you get out once you figure it out that unconditional love you are. Well, guys like Lucifer, intelligent ones, because he's very intelligent, and his block of souls, they've been arguing against that. They've been arguing it's not gonna work. We created something which is very powerful, with the absolute authority to kill, milk, harass, torture souls. And in theory, which of course gonna be the practice, that evil can stretch soul into like very small bodies like cats, mice, dogs, and perpetuate these incarnations into hundreds of billions of incarnations forever. So, that's not gonna work. And this is my impression. Our side, the wall, made something like a compromise. And this compromise is in these cyclic movements of galaxies and cyclic outbursts of energy and destruction of the whole galaxies. Okay, destruction of all stars, star systems, but galaxies and universes, in order to prevent death. Because, you see, we really needed to see what we are. And the only way to see what we are is to enter complete oblivion. Only then you're gonna see who you are. So unconditional love was right. However, the other side was right as well. What's the point of being like endlessly stretched and manipulated forever? What kind of experiment is that? Leads nowhere. Only to the endless feeding to the metaphysical eye, and just endless suffering. Because suffering is not that much result of your doings, but more like comes as a result when you've been hit energy to be taken, and your wrongdoings anyway are done by the programming here and influences from around anyway. So this is what's going on now. One of those cyclical movements is happening, and we've been entering past, let's say, 150 years or so. We've been entering higher energy field as a solar system. So imagine sun as a boat, because sun is 99.9999 of the whole energy of the solar system. We are simply specks. Planets are simply specks. And sun with its gravity field is shielding all of us, all of these planets from the outside radiation. So when sun goes through the ocean, and universe is like an ocean, sometimes waves are smaller, sometimes waves are bigger, sometimes waves are that, okay? So we are now past 150 years, we've been like entering into this area of bigger waves, and now they're getting bigger and bigger. And what happens is, we who are that energy, we are reacting to it. Sun, of course, who's alive, is reacting to it. Earth is reacting to it. We all feel it. So it is impossible not to feel it if you're souled. If you're souled, you definitely gonna feel this energy coming. If you're not, no. Nothing to feel. You're just material body, nothing else. You're football, you're fashion, you're money, you're food. That's all. Not us. We are not. We are the energy which been put in these small containers, and now everything is changing. That's what's going on. And this is the control mechanism, exactly to prevent that. And if you check out our history, whatever you know about the history is nothing but war, hunger, manipulation, genocide. And peaceful parts with it, between those genocides, which are the good periods where people go through normal suffering of trying to survive in the economic system of feudalism, one way or another. What was communism? It was simply feudalism. You had Illuminati and reptiles at the top, they had everything, and then you had party members, those 10% who've been managing businesses for them, and then you had the majority, which was eating shit all the time. What do you have now in the so-called democracy? Again, same structure. Reptiles and Illuminati above, 10% of those who are in one of those two political parties, and then you have majority, which is eating shit. Organic portals and sold ones. So, if you're sold, you suffer along with the organic portals, but they are the guys who's gonna tell you, don't think. See? That's why you're there. Can you imagine like only souls to exist in the unprivileged class? That would be very bad for the system, because we could easily connect with each other, but this way we are separated. We are incredibly separated. And well, I'm sure you're not gonna like this what I'm gonna say, but regarding the marriage system is incredibly pedant in this case. If you're sold, you never gonna be paired with another sold person. If you make connection, that connection gonna be broken. You always gonna be paired, in the case of marriage, with the unsold person, because this way system will be able to control you through that partner, and energy will be taken away through that partner. And if you happen to have children, well, mostly they're gonna be organic portals anyway. And then you're locked, because you're attached to them, you work for them, you eat shit for them, you die for them. And you died for nothing, really. So this is another little thing about the innocent thing called love. Be very careful, because if you give your heart to ego, it's gonna be broken by definition. What else? What do you expect? What do you expect? That's why happy love stories exist only on the YouTube romantic comedies, and you can find them on the YouTube. These are nice movies, but only movies. I'm sure that it exists also in a practice somewhere, but statistically so insignificant. It will be very difficult, very dangerous to hope that to happen to you. That much about love. Very tricky business. And I guess this is it. This is what I have to say about the world. The world sucks for the reason it's there to fool you.